Y'all, Tupac Shakur is one of my favorite rappers of all time. Like, really one of my favorite artists ever. I grew up listening to him. I grew up with it being played in my household, being played at family functions by my uncles and cousins and so on and so forth, right? But one thing that really boggles my mind is that when people always try to attribute his death to conspiracy theories. Oh, he got set up by Big, he got set up by Diddy, he got set up by Suge, and so on and so forth, right? Like he just got set up, he got set up, he got set up. Like, I don't think that was the case at all. I think Pac died at the hands of gang banging retaliation, gang banging activity, right? I think Pac died. He got killed because he stomped out a known gang member, a known dude that was in the streets wilding, right? He stomped out Orlando and in the casino, and I think it was repercussions that were going to come from that, right? For example, if I'm in Chicago, I'm Chicago, Illinois. I don't know the gang politics anywhere else but Chicago, right? I don't know how things happen in LA, but I always say this. I know how stuff happens in Chicago. If I'm friends with a group of individuals that from one gang, right? I'm friends with these people, right? And I'm with them and I see their rival. I'm not a gang member though, I'm just friends with these dudes. And we see one of their rivals. If I go up and I stomp out one of their rivals just because I'm with them and I hang with them, you know what's going to happen to me? Like, it's going to be like people are going to try to look for get back. Get back is going to be coming my way. And like ASAP, expeditiously get back is going to be coming my way. With no hesitation. That's the name of the game. That's the law of nature. It's like retaliation. An eye for an eye. That's really or even worse. Right? Because they going to feel like, damn, I know this school. You going to let that schoolboy whoop you like that? Me, I'm a college kid. You going to let that college kid whoop you like that, bro? Really? You a street dude. You going to let that college kid whoop you? And it's going to be retaliation. I got to expect that things are going to come back to me from that situation. Like, I got to protect myself or have people around me to protect me because people are going to want to get their get back. That's what happened in the case of Pac, I believe, right? He stomped out a known gang member, like a dude that was really out here in the streets wilding, a Crip that was for real Crip, and they want to get back, right? Why? Too? Well, because he was disrespected, but not only was he disrespected by being stomped out, he got stomped out by a dude that was a rapper, an entertainer, right? And despite us knowing despite us knowing Pac's militant background and him shooting at off-duty police officers or whatever, to gang members, Pac was an entertainer to them. Like, you know what I mean? They looking like, oh no, I know you're gonna let this rapping dude beat you. This little rapping dude beat you to a pulp. Like, you let that rapping dude do that to you? You let the rapper beat you? I'm sure that's what Orlando probably was gonna face. The ridicule he was gonna face going back to his hood, and people in his hood hearing that he got stomped out by an entertainer. And I think retaliation was gonna come back from that. Whatever way it was. I don't think it was really no conspiracy theories behind it. You know, Pac was a very, very loyal dude. To a fault at times. You know, I'm sure he felt some type of loyalty and obligation to Suge and Death Row because they got him out of prison, right? And Death Row all Death Row was affiliated with Mob Piru out there, right? They was Piru all the way through and through. You know what I mean? And him being around these individuals led to, you know, him being associated with it. And probably in many ways. You know what I mean? And he took on beefs that they had that he probably should have fell back from. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, don't nothing come with gang banging but jail or death. Unless you are really, really talented and you can rise above it. But even then, once you get to that pinnacle of success, you got to chill out from all of that. You got to fall back from it. Pac, I feel like at times, Pac gravitated towards that energy at times. You know what I mean? As great of a man he was and how complex he was and how he had a beautiful mind, he was a complex individual. And I think at times he invited some of that energy. You know what I mean? He was very, very young when he passed. So he wasn't like all the way the most mature individual in certain aspects. You know, so he was act off the hinge at times when he was pissed. You know what I mean? Like, he wore his emotions on his sleeve. And and he was a really, really emotional man. And that is what made him great, but I believe that's also what led to his demise. Being really emotional and impulsive made him a great artist. It gave him great work ethic. It gave him the great drive to be this phenomenon and this legend that we know him as today, but at the same time, it landed him in situations where he didn't necessarily need to insert himself in. You know what I mean? Like, I know, like, being here, gangbanging culture is something that I never wanted to be a part of because I saw what it did to people that I grew up with in my communities. They got to live on an island, literally. Literally, they can't go to certain areas. They can't go to certain functions because they always got to look over their shoulder because they don't know if the rival, the enemies, or the ops, as they say in Chicago, if they're around, or if they, if their neighborhood is close by, or if they could be riding around in a car and could see them out somewhere. Like, it's just a whole lot of craziness that go on with it. And I believe that Pac got killed at the hands of some retaliation. I believe that's what it was. I don't believe it was anybody, any outside forces or anybody trying to trick him or manipulate him. Yes, I believe he was manipulated in certain situations, for sure. I believe so, but at the same time, I believe Pac acted on his own merits with stomping out Orlando, and then the repercussions of that came back later. I believe that's really what happened. And that's me being a big Tupac fan. But I know, like, when you insert yourself in gang activity, it's going to be consequences to those things. You know what I mean? Like, for example, and this is a movie, but this movie was perfect. It perfectly displayed what happens in the hood. In Minister Society, when Elena's cousin, the girl that Kane had got pregnant, Kane was denying the baby, dogging her out, all type of stuff, right? The cousin came to address Kane. When he came to address Kane about it, Kane stomped him out viciously till the man had blood leaking from his lip, like from his mouth. In front of everybody. He got stomped out. Probably his boys probably heard about it and saw how he got stomped out or whatever. Word got back to his hood. And what happened? He felt the need to retaliate to the highest degree, to kill Kane. Not beat him up in return, to kill him because he was so embarrassed from the whole incident. He felt like his pride was snatched from him. And he felt like the only way to redeem himself from that was to go and carry out murder in the movie, like to go and shoot this man, right? And I don't know none of the parties that, in Pac in Orlando's situation, but I'm sure it was something like a similar type mindset. Like, man, like, I can't go out like this and letting this dude embarrass me. It's all on videos. It's the cameras. And in Vegas had all of it. You know what I mean? Probably some dudes they probably knew. Some dudes from his hood saw it and like, man, I can't have this on. I can't live with that on my name. And that's exactly how negativity plays out in the hood. You know what I mean? And again, Pac was a brilliant mind, a genius. Like, when it came to the music and even the certain things that he, like, hearing him express himself about the state of poverty, about the state of black people in America. He was ahead of his time in those aspects, but at the same time, he was very young and very immature at times and didn't really know how to navigate that realm of, okay, I know known gangbangers, but I can't really insert myself in that. I can't, because it's going to come with a whole different type of price. Because a whole different type of price you pay for gang activities rather than just being a regular rap star or a man that's just defending himself. It's a whole different type of cloud over your head that come with being a gangbanger, and being associating yourself with gang activities is just like a road to destruction. It really is, man. And at times, I was like, man, as a Pac fan, you like, man, you almost wish he didn't sign in Death Row. But who's to say? I don't know. He could have affiliated with somebody else, and he still would have been probably an impulsive man. He was still enraged at what happened to him. He had got shot before. He felt like he got betrayed by people. It still could have been. He could have been still that enraged young man, and could have went to somebody else that was gang affiliated, and something else. Him being loyal could have led him inserting himself into some gang stuff later on. Or you say you wish he would have never went to Death Row because he probably would have been away from that type of stuff. But at the same time, those hits that we heard, that music, I don't know if you would have got that sound anywhere else from that in-house production that they had, right? But yeah, man, it's just like him being in that circle, I think he was just like, he was young, running off all of that testosterone and all of that. And just, and sometimes I feel like Pac felt like, he always felt like he could die at any point, but he didn't care about, he didn't think about certain things sometimes, I think, before he did it. Acting off impulse. And yeah, and it led to, I think that led to his demise, his untimely demise, man. And a very sad situation when I think about it, you know what I mean? But I know I've seen that's how situations play out in Chicago, man. I've seen it a lot, man. And again, I don't understand. I don't have any knowledge of LA street politics or gang politics or whatever, but I just know how repercussions come onto you when you're in a gang affiliation or you gang related in Chicago. You know what I mean? Like, it's why I never, you know, I knew dudes in gangs. I got family that's that's, you know, in gangs or whatever, right? But I never would insert myself in nothing that they had going on, because that's some stuff I don't know nothing about. You know what I mean? That's some stuff I don't know nothing about. Now, again, if somebody just beating up on my cousin and I'm with them, I gotta defend my cousin. That's, you know what I mean? It is what it is. But I'm never gonna just outright just, you know, just go up and I'm with my cousins. They see one of their rivals. I'm not gonna be the first one to just bust off, like steal off one of the dudes that that they're into it with. I'm never gonna do that, because I know that what could possibly come with that. You know what I mean? I'm not walking in that life. I went to school. I was trying to do something else. I can't be associated with that life. And I remember MC8 saying that he felt like Tupac went backwards, affiliated himself with the gang lifestyle, because when you're at that pinnacle of success, you can't attach yourself to that type of negativity. You gotta, like I said, you can't hold on to the grass and reach for the stars at the same time. You gotta let that stuff go. The dudes that's around you that's doing that, let that be them. Don't be tying yourself up into that, because it starts putting you in a bad spot where you can't, because you're active in their activities, you can't go certain places. You probably already can't go certain places because they know your camp is who they are, but they probably could possibly give you a pass because you not own that what they own. But you put yourself in harm's way for real when you do those type of things, man. And yeah, I think Pac was just a loyal dude that felt like, I'm riding with these dudes, they got me out of jail, whatever beef they with, I'm with it. And he did that, and when he took on they beefs, it put a dark cloud over his head, man. It really, I believe it really did. I don't think it was, you know, Suge told them, shoot up the car, but don't hit me. I don't think dudes is really that good of marksmen to really not hit him and to let the bullet graze Suge, and okay, just let it graze me. They not skilled marksmen like that. Okay, the bullet just graze me, but it'll hit up Pac. Like, nah. I don't think it went down like that at all. That's why I don't think Suge planned it out for it to happen like that and all that. I don't think so. I just think that Pac inserted himself into some street stuff, and then the street retaliation came from that later. You know what I mean? And it's like, again, it's sad because we lost a great artist. A young man that had potential to grow into, like, he was 20, how was Pac when he got killed? 25 or something like that? Right? He would have been at 45, 40, 30, even 35. We don't know. He could have been something tremendous, you know, but we never got to see it because, you know, he got killed, unfortunately. But, yeah, I just don't buy into all the conspiracy theories that a lot of my people be subscribing to. I really don't. Like, I just know how gang bang politics, I know how it all play out. I know it. I've seen it. Like, you know what I mean? That's just normal gang activity to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, one dude stomp out one of the dudes and embarrass them, and then the dude get mad and come for retaliation, not with fists, but with guns. And then it leads to people, unfortunately, losing their life. A young brother losing his life at a very, very tender age, you know what I mean? And he was acting in movies. He was putting out so much content. Like, all them albums he put out, to be that young, his work ethic and drive was on a whole nother level. So I know his work ethic and drive in a social justice type of area would have been great, you know what I mean? But his downfall was he just was so emotional, too emotional at times, and he couldn't contain himself. He would be too impulsive, and it would lead to him acting irrationally. He didn't think things through at certain times, and you know, in this situation, it ended up, I think it ended up not working in his favor, you know, unfortunately. But I'm not here to smear his legacy. Like, he's a great artist, he's a great human being, for all accounts, but for most accounts, but like, he has shortcomings, just like everybody else does. But I think his shortcomings is what led to his demise. Nobody's perfect, but I think his shortcomings in certain areas, flaws in certain areas, led to him having his life being taken. I don't think it was no conspiracy theories at all. Machiavelli Mills TV, peace.